Before the season started, there was one rookie hitter I was seriously hyped about. Now it's May. This guy is straight up raking, making a name for himself all across the country. But it's not just the talent. He's got the fire, the energy, and a personality that's just as bold as his look. Today, we're talking about the Chicago Cubs super prospect, PeteCrow-Armstrong. PeteCrow-Armstrong, or PCA for short, went to Harvard-Westlake High School, same school that pumped out guys like Jack Flaherty and Max Fried. Yeah, it's that kind of baseball factory. He was one of the few high school hitters in his draft class, and scouts were already saying, yeah, this kid's definitely going in the first round. And sure enough, he was taken 19th overall in the 2020 MLB draft by the Mets. That's when his pro journey officially kicked off, but he didn't stay in New York for long. In 2021, he was part of the trade that sent Javier Baez and Trevor Williams to the Mets, and PCA ended up heading to Chicago. Now, Baez at the time was in his prime. He put up 5.8 WAR in 2018 and 5.6 in 2019. So the fact that the Cubs got PCA in return, that tells you just how much buzz there was around this guy. Some Mets media even said they gave up too much in that trade by including PCA. So, yeah, expectations were sky high. So why was everyone so high on this guy? If you dig into his scouting report from back then, there's one thing that really jumps out. Defense. He didn't blow anyone away with his bat or raw power, which are usually what scouts obsess over. But when it came to defense, he got a freaking 80 grade on the scouting scale. That's as high as it gets. People thought he could hold his own in center field in the big leagues right away, and maybe even turn into a future Gold Glove guy. That elite glove was what pushed him into the first round, and once he got into the pros, his defense looked even better than advertised. Some folks said watching him live was on a whole different level than what the report said. You take a look at his 2024 defensive stats, and yeah, those scouting reports, spot on. Actually, he might be even better than what people thought. In his first full season in 2024, he put up 14 OAA, which ranked him 7th among all outfielders. When you break down PCA's defense, what really stands out is his elite speed, which gives him incredible range in the outfield. On top of that, his reads off the bat are excellent, and he takes really clean routes to the ball. There's actually a stat that shows exactly how well all of that comes together. It's a stat that breaks down defense based on the difficulty of each play. MLB ranks batted balls by how tough they are to field level 5 for plays with a 0 to 25% success rate, level 4 for 26 to 50%, level 3 for 51 to 75%, level 2 for 76 to 90%, and level 1 for 91 to 95% chances. Now, on those level 5 plays, the toughest ones to make, PCA recorded 7 outs out of 15 chances, which was the most in the league among all outfielders. His success rate, 46.7%, also the highest in MLB. This year, same story. Actually, he's putting up even better defensive numbers in 2025. So far in 2025, he's already got 11 OAA, which puts him at the top among all outfielders. On those level 5 plays, he's made 6 outs out of 11 chances more than any other outfielder so far. And for everything else, level 4 down to level, he's showing outstanding success rates across the board. Bottom line, he's playing defense at a level that's about as close to flawless as it gets. If a ball falls anywhere within his range, chances are it's not landing for a hit. At this rate, the Gold Glove in center field is basically his to lose this season. And if that happens, that line in his scouting report saying he could be Gold Glove caliber? Yeah, turns out that wasn't just talk. The fact that he might actually pull that off in just his second year, that says a lot about how fast this guy's developing. And his growth isn't just limited to defense. His passion for the game, his focus, and that fiery competitiveness, they're pushing him to level up in every part of his game, not just with the glove. And this year, his improvement at the plate has been seriously impressive. But before we dive into the hitting numbers, I just want to say this, don't be too quick to judge PCA's bat. There's more there than people might think. Let's be real, PCA was never known for having elite hitting talent. He wasn't drafted for his bat, and no one expected him to carry an offense. Just look at his numbers from last season. Batting average, 0.237, OPS, .670, home runs, 10, and a WRC plus of 87. Basically, he looked like your classic glove-first center fielder. Great with the glove, not much with the bat. A guy sitting right around WRC plus 90. But this year, he's flipping the script in a big way. Batting average 0.278, OPS of .780, home runs 16, WRC plus 141. Already has 16 home runs. way past what he hit all of last year. That jump in power? Yeah, that's what really stands out. So, yeah, this part's actually really important. What is pure athleticism? PCA reportedly bulked up going into the season, and judging by how he looks, it's not just weight. It looks like he packed on some serious muscle. That added strength, it's showing up at the plate, big time. He's basically proving that sometimes the biggest skill in hitting is just being more athletic. Baseball's a game of split seconds, so being in top physical shape, yeah, it matters a lot. If you look at the numbers side by side, 24 years versus 25 years so far, you can see some clear, if subtle, improvements. His average exit velocity went up from 88 to 90 miles per hour. Bat speed climbed from 70 to 72 miles per hour, and his hard hit rate jumped from 39.6% to 43.5%. So yeah, they're not massive leaps, but definitely a noticeable uptick across the board. It's a good example of how small gains in physical tools can actually lead to real improvements in the stat sheet. But here's the thing, those physical gains alone don't fully explain how his bat suddenly took off this year. There's a technical side to it too. And honestly, we don't even need to break down a dozen things. Just two key changes tell us exactly why his hitting has taken such a big leap forward. The most noticeable change? His stance. More specifically, how he shifts his weight now. On the left, that's him in 2024. On the right, that's 2025. See any differences? Or does it look like he's keeping more weight back in the 2025 clip? If you notice that, you're right. He's clearly focusing on staying back more in his load. If you pause it right at the end of his stride, you can still see that his weight is staying back. In the 2024 clip though, his weight looks like it's already shifted more toward the center. That small change lets him wait longer before pulling the trigger, and that's a big reason why both his batting average and power numbers have jumped this year. There's one more thing to pay attention to here, how he uses his arms and the rotation of his upper body. In the 2024 clip, his upper body stays pretty tight, with not much space between his arms and his torso. You'll also notice his front shoulder is already kind of out in front. Now that might feel comfortable for making contact. But it comes with a couple of downsides. First, with less coil in his upper body, he's not generating as much force, which means less chance of hitting the ball hard. But the bigger issue, that early shoulder rotation makes him more likely to open up too soon, which can make him really vulnerable, especially to off-speed pitches away. But in the 2025 clip, it's a different story. He's creating more space between his arms and his body, and hitting from a solid power position. That might seem like a small detail, but it makes a huge difference when it comes to generating power. And if you look at the angle from his right shoulder to his elbow, you can see it set deeper than before. That allows for a better coil, which means he can unleash a more explosive swing. Plus, because he's not opening up as early, he's way less likely to get fooled by breaking balls away. Just comparing these two clips, you can clearly see how much more balanced and controlled his swing has become. At this point, you could say he's finally got a swing that looks like a real big leaguer's. There's no doubt, he's made huge strides this season. From the way he's swinging the bat to how locked in he is on defense, you can't help but wonder what kind of numbers he'll end up with by the end of 2025. He once said this in an interview, "I don't want to give up a single ball." That one sentence tells you everything, just how obsessed he is with competing and how mentally tough he really is. Sure, sometimes that intensity might seem a little over the top, but honestly, I love players like that, guys who bring real fire to the field. It makes me genuinely excited to see how he's going to survive in this brutal pro world and what kind of player he'll eventually grow into. So, if you haven't been watching yet, now's a pretty great time to start keeping an eye on PeteCrow-Armstrong, the center fielder for the Chicago Cubs.